Look, stop getting mad or agonizing over why a text suddenly goes cold. We've all been there, right? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're totally rewiring how you perceive rejection. We're going to take that paralyzing fear and turn it into high-octane fuel for your success. We all have these big goals or even just conversations we want to start, but there's this massive invisible wall stopping us, the fear of hearing no. Well, today, we're tearing that wall down brick by brick. Let's kick things off with this hard-hitting quote from entrepreneur Dan Martell. It really sets the stage for the massive paradigm shift we're about to dive into. Listen, rejection isn't the opposite of success. It's actually just the toll booth on the road to success. You don't get chosen without first getting overlooked. It is literally the price you have to pay to become a much better, much more resilient version of yourself. So, why do we let the fear of no control our lives? It's a huge question. Why do we hold back from pitching that idea, asking for a raise, or honestly, why do we feel this dire need to seek validation and agonizingly research exactly why a text was left on read? We get so caught up in the why. We let the fear of no dictate our boundaries. But stick with me, because using some incredible insights from behavioral experts, we're going to crush this fear once and for all. All right, moving into section 1, the illusion of fear. Let's look at what's actually happening in your body. When you're facing a potential rejection, a crazy biological illusion happens. The fear feels so incredibly real in your chest, right? But your brain is actually playing a massive trick on you. Research from Mel Robbins shows that the physical states of fear and excitement are, well, they're literally identical. Think about it. When you're terrified of speaking in public, your heart races, you're sweating, you get this huge surge of cortisol. Now, what happens when you're strapped into a roller coaster you've been dying to ride? Exactly the same thing. Heart racing, sweating, cortisol surge. Your body is just in a state of hyperarousal, getting ready for action. Here is the real kicker. The only difference between fear and excitement is the narrative your brain attaches to that feeling. You can't just force yourself to be calm when your heart is pounding out of your chest. That's like trying to stop a speeding train by throwing a pebble at it. It just causes a disaster. Instead, you have to reframe the narrative. If you tell yourself, oh man, I'm gonna fail, that's fear. But if you tell your brain, I am so excited for this opportunity, you literally hijack that nervous energy and instantly turn it into enthusiasm. It's a total game changer. Next up, section 2. Rejection is just redirection. Dan Martell points out something brilliant here. FEAR stands for false evidence appearing real. We constantly paralyze ourselves worrying about a rejection that hasn't even happened yet. And you know what? Even if it does happen, every single no brings you one mathematical step closer to a yes. When you get rejected, you just readjust and rise. It isn't actually rejection, it's redirection towards something way better that actually aligns with your life. Okay, section 3, the red gumball theory. I absolutely love this concept. After tracking thousands and thousands of interactions, the data reveals something wild. Only about 10% of the people we approach for anything, a pitch, a sale, a date, are genuinely aligned matches. 10%. That's it. Imagine a giant gumball machine with 100 gumballs in it. 90 of them are red and 10 are blue. The blue gumballs are your wins, your successful connections, your yeses. To get to those 10 blue gumballs, you mechanically have to crank through the 90 red ones. It's just math. You put your coin in, turn the crank, and a red gumball pops out. You don't sit there crying over the red gumball, right? You acknowledge it and you turn the crank again. Rejection is just a necessary mechanical action to clear the pipe for that blue gumball. The huge takeaway here? Stop tying your self-worth to every single no. If someone ghosts your text or turns down your pitch, they are just a red gumball. Stop trying to force a red gumball to turn blue. It's not going to happen. Don't waste your precious energy agonizing over why they didn't engage. Just sort them aside, accept the reality that most people simply aren't your blue gumball, gamify the whole process, and keep turning that crank. Moving on to section 4, erasing the perceived bias. Let's look at why people resist us in the first place. Whenever you approach someone, their defensive walls immediately shoot up. Why? Because they think you're only looking out for yourself. Often, the rejection isn't even about you. It's about how the other person's brain processes being approached. Even in our personal lives, we completely accidentally act like needy salespeople for our own self-worth. And if they perceive you as a needy salesperson, their natural biological instinct is to push back to protect their own time and energy. To bypass this completely, we use a strategy called selling against your own interest. You actually voice the negative right up front. You say something like, Look, I know you probably aren't looking for this right now, and you can apply this directly to your personal life too. If a text conversation goes cold, instead of getting all needy or asking for an explanation, hit them with the ultimate 5-word sassy response. Okay, cool, good luck. That's it. You assume they don't want to engage, you gently push away, and you end it instantly. Leaving without a fight, keeping your dignity fully intact, is honestly the most confident thing you can do. When you drop the need to persuade, their resistance just melts away. That brings us to Section 5. Focus on actions, not outcomes. Tying your happiness to an outcome is a total recipe for anxiety. Look at it this way. You cannot control if someone says yes to your proposal or texts you back, but you absolutely can control how many proposals you send or how many people you reach out to. When you define your success just by completing actions, like making 27 calls or turning that gumball crank 50 times, your state instantly shifts from anxious to empowered. You are 100% in control of the effort. The outcomes, those beautiful blue gumballs, they'll naturally follow the volume of action you take. But, okay, what about that split second when the phone feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds, or you freeze right before walking into a room? When that hesitation spikes, use Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. Notice the fear and immediately count backwards out loud or in your head. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This simple act physically awakens your prefrontal cortex and breaks that habitual fear loop. Then insert an anchor thought. Just visualize how great it'll feel when it's done and literally tell your brain, I am excited. You're practically hacking your mind into a state of high-performance enthusiasm. Now for our final phase, Section 6, the ultimate revenge. Let's be real for a second. It hurts when people don't believe in you or reject you. But as Ben Lionel Scott reminds us, being exceptional is not a comfortable journey. The second you try to move from being normal to being uncommon, people aren't going to understand you. Normal people will judge you because your ambition makes them deeply uncomfortable. True leaders are almost always called eccentric or strange. You really have to get strong enough in your own skin to survive that loneliness, face the judgment head on, and be willing to bet it all on your dreams time and time again. When the haters talk and the rejections pile up, you've got a choice. You can let it shrink you, or you can use it. The universe responds to the person who absolutely refuses to be denied. So instead of wasting your energy being mad at the person who ghosted you or told you no, shift that energy entirely into making yourself the happiest, most laser-focused version of you. That is what a real investment in yourself looks like. Take the energy from every single closed door and channel it straight into your goals. As Frank Sinatra said, massive success is the best revenge. We've broken down so much in this explainer today. You know now that fear is really just excitement waiting for a new label. Rejection is just a mechanical sorting process, a tiny redirection on your path to success. So I'm going to leave you with this. Are you seriously going to let a harmless little red gumball keep you from finding your blue one? What bold action, what turn of the crank are you going to take today? Keep pushing forward, and we'll see you next time.